We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Ollie Gordon, Miami Dolphins running back. Finally got to show his value in this game, getting a handful of carries, showing off his ability in short yardage. The Dolphins have, desperately needed some short yardage help coming into this season. The Dolphins have actually been very efficient when handing the ball off to Ollie Gordon, being near perfect, converting on those situations, picking up, third and ones, getting his first career touchdown in this game, working through contact, showing off some great, play strength, balance in those situations, grinding out some tough yardages, just showing that he can be a pretty nice complement to Achan, and just actually being able to establish and kind of sticking to the run more often in this game, being able to get him going. You're not going to see too many crazy explosive plays. He's not the most explosive back, but he's converted multiple short yardage plays now. Did it in a couple first games. Did some things as a blocker. Got to show off his hands on one of these receiving plays. We'll break down. But nice to see Ollie Gordon getting a chance to contribute. I don't think he's gonna be a big time playmaker for you, but he can do a lot of the little things that you don't have from the other guys, and be a nice little balanced complement to what you got going on else in the backfield and some of the other weapons on the team. So nice to see Ollie getting some work in. Obviously, it didn't work. End up with a win versus the Bills. I don't think anyone was expecting to win, but able to go out there and at least show some fight. Like here, Gordon, short yardage situation. Dolphins go inside zone, and he just makes a quick read. Good decisiveness, up front here. Might even be a bit of a reading these blocks. Reads the quick pressure from this offensive lineman. They combo and climb for both. Keon Smith not quite able to get up to this linebacker. Jonah and Brewer do a much better job on their double team executing right here. Gordon just identifies this space opening up on the backside. Good combo from these three. They get a body. Paul's kicking out. Brewer's able to hold his zone. Jonah, one of his better blocks, getting up to the linebacker. And Gordon just sticks that foot in the ground, makes that nice cut, some good flexion in the lower half. Vision, another nice little cut. Boom, get forward, drop your body into the safety, finish. Especially once you get down in the red area like this, and you're running on it, because that was a 3rd and 1 situation. Picking up a nice 8-yard gain. Dolphins picked up pretty much all of those short yardage conversions. He picked up fairly easily. Some of them even turned into nice chunk plays like that. So that's good. And then he's able to get another short yardage, get down in the red area, and they just hand him the ball off. Dolphins do, inside zone here. I think that last one might have been more deal. But inside zone here, you just watch this. Because don't love this design. I broke this down on the offensive, week, the offensive breakdown. So Connor a little bit late getting back to this. So they're running inside zone. He's supposed to somehow motion away, sift, and get back to the unblocked defensive end. Gordon just makes a good decision, very decisive, stays tight. He's got to stay away from the unblocked defender. He beats Connor. He actually gets there before Connor, which is crazy. Good combo from Paul and Jonah, and just works off the back of them. Look at him get as far away from the unblocked defender as possible. Then just gives himself the best path to get into the end zone. Runs with good pad level here, which is huge for him, because sometimes, he had a more of an upright running style coming out of college. Drops the pad level, gets low, and is able to then carry that momentum and fall into the end zone. That just shows off, his physical capabilities, fall forward in those spots, but also the mental capabilities to take the best path, because sometimes that's such a huge part of these short yard spots. And sometimes while bigger backs might not be good in short yardage, or a smaller back might be better than people expect, because of how important vision and just taking the best path possible to get there is very, very big in converting a bunch of these spots. And he gets his first career touchdown, so shout out Ollie. Definitely earned that one. Made some plays on that opening drive as well. Here's another one, another short yardage gain. Things aren't blocked up perfectly either. This time they go for the gap scheme. They down block here. Keon Smith pulling around. Keon's kind of, whiffs the block on Big 96. And I think that's Deion Walker. Huge, by the way. So Paul kind of whiffs his block. Then, so yeah, this is kind of on Paul too, because Paul misses that. And then Keon, who I don't think is planning to go for him, sees it late. But the fact that Ollie Gordon can take on a guy this big in the backfield like this, because where he's hit, it's behind the line. The fact that he can take that on and still fall forward and pick up 3 yards on that play is amazingly helpful for the Dolphins offense. And, the Dolphins offense hasn't been perfect, but the Dolphins offense has at least been competitive. It has been it's probably done enough to at least, like if your defense was playing better to like potentially win, a couple of these games. Uh, and that's like a big part. I think that's helped out the offense to convert some of these third downs. They were actually better on third down just overall in this game, just like converting, more than just short yardage stuff. But that's a big help for Miami's O, and might not have helped overall when it comes to the win category yet. But I think it's something that could be helpful for the future of just the complement of backs that you have back there. Also, just like runs on different situations, grinding out some yardage, picking up, like 5 yard gains on those like first down runs. Dolphins running some more like inside zone here. They work that combo, basically like inside zone with like an insert lead from this tight end. Julian Hill gets up on top of it, kind of cuts this to the outside. Boom has to make like this footwork play. I think he takes a little bit of a too wide of a path here. I think he could press up interior a little bit more, but he presses to the outside, then sticks his foot in the ground, gets up the field vertically, works through contact there, drops his shoulder into a guy, falls forward, just fighting for every inch that he can get. I love that part of his game, and it's something the Dolphins have desperately needed. This was his biggest run of the game. Actually, his biggest run of the year. Dolphins run the counter, so they motion Ingold in just a little bit. They motion him in. Basically ends up, being a kick out over here. He's the kick out guy. Julian Hill is like the counter action lead blocker to here. Ingold kind of whiffs, so Ollie has to take on this guy in the backfield. This is third and short, by the way. Gets hit in the backfield. Absorbs the contact. Absorbing contact is huge because sometimes bigger guys don't know how to absorb the contact, and that's why you see these different levels. He absorbs it greatly, stays on his feet, shows off the balance, and actually him absorbing this actually allows these guys to get the block better. Everyone else blocks it up perfectly. Ingold whiffs, but Julian Hill does a great job kicking out. Paul gets out to his guy. Brun's skill, like everyone has a pretty effective block over here. They down block. Look at this creation. Look at Jonah. This is one of Jonah's best blocks. I'll give Jonas had his troubles definitely in pass protection, but he did on some bigger plays and runs of the night. He did have effective blocks. Like look at that horizontal displacement from Jonah. Great job. Probably his best rep of the year right here. Like look how much horizontal displacement he creates. Actually, just noticed that. So shout out Jonah. He needs to play a lot better, but you got to give him credit for that play. And then Gordon, great job getting downhill. And then look at this solid acceleration. So like after contact right here, he starts running. Once he sticks a foot in the ground here, look at this acceleration away from this defender. Able to accelerate right there, which I think gets him an extra few yards than I think people are expecting. Just a little bit of catching someone off guard to pick up that sort of acceleration. Just here, vision, decisiveness, get upfield, find the hole, drop your shoulder into contact, pick up another, 4 or 5 yard gain on first down. Those were some of his more effective carries. He did have a couple carries where he got negative yards, but I don't really blame those. There wasn't really anything to break down other than like guys just came unblocked and were hitting him as he was into the backfield. There was really nothing you could do on those plays. But it didn't happen on short yardage. They were all like early down plays. So he converted all the short yardage stuff. Like here's another one. This is like his first short yardage carry of the season. Just get downhill. Dolphins block things up pretty nicely. Good vision. Drop your shoulder into players. Fight for every inch that you could get. Even some like toss. This is like, little bit of outside zone, but with more of like that wind back element with, Malik motioning across as like a sift blocker. Just good job getting downhill, reading his blocks. And he gets contacted here, and you can just see him fight forward, fall forward. Like where he gets contacted, picks up an extra 4-5 yards on that play from where he's initially contacted. Yards after contact, huge thing that the Dolphins have needed offensively in the backfield. And Ollie is someone that can potentially bring that. He's not going to get you like crazy explosive plays with his athleticism, but he can get some plays like that, which is very, very nice. And I just think would help the offense play more efficient. They haven't really thrown him the ball other than this, but he is someone that can catch. Like, again, this thing, ball's thrown like, Tua's quickly pressured. He has to throw the ball out. Ollie makes the nice adjustment, has to catch away from his frame, turn around, flip his hips, and makes a nice, makes a very comfortable looking catch. Like, no hesitation, boom, spins out of it. Then shows off good lateral quickness, change of direction, doesn't really pick up any extra yards after that, but he does make that first guy miss, which is nice. He was breaking some tackles out there in space. Hasn't had too much pass pro work, but this was his most effective pass pro rep where he gets, the chop block in. I think he's someone who has the size and want to, but needs a more technical improvement as a pass pro guy, but that is somewhere he could potentially be one of your better options in that spot. Here he is as a lead blocker on space on the Malik Washington sweep, being physical on a linebacker. As I'm saying, not a great block from a technical standpoint, not really using his hands, but just has that size and gets in the way, sticks with it as long as possible. That's always a positive bonus. So Ollie, one of the more positive takeaways I think from the Week 3 game. Still want to see a lot of these rookies develop. I wouldn't be too harsh on some of them. I think the situation around them has not been perfect. There's been a lot thrown on their plate, and we are only 3 weeks into the season. And sometimes there are certain positions that take a little bit longer to develop. Running back is usually a position that is not one of those longer developing spots. It doesn't surprise me that maybe Ollie would be one of the more consistent rookies early on. Um, I'm gonna definitely do more of the rookies uh, after this, probably starting next Monday, Tuesday. You'll probably see the rest of the rookies just going through their first 3 games, kind of see where they're at, where they can develop, because that's where this season a lot is right now. The Dolphins start 0-3. You're looking at trying to develop some of these young guys, what you can build around potentially in the future, who works out, who doesn't. But I think I don't see a star with all it, but I do see someone that can be a nice complement to what you have in Achane and be a really solid number 2 and pick up these short yardage and stuff like that. Running back position looking fairly solid for Miami. So yeah, if you guys want to do that, comment and subscribe. It's time.